Hey guys, my name's Matthew, and I'm going to be showing you how to do a pretty simple haircut today using detachable blade clippers. The haircut that we're going to be doing today is a 2-blade, which I'm using right now, 2-blade going down to skin, kind of like a low to mid skin fade, to skin using a foil shaver. The way I'm going to show you how to cut his hair today is actually I'm going to cut from the top down, so from the longest to the shortest, instead of cutting a traditional haircut where you would put in the bald line with the trimmers, cut underneath that with the foil shaver, and cut up to the 2. What I'm going to show you is a 2. This is a 1.5, and going shorter and shorter and shorter, blade by blade, until I run out of hair to cut. For me, it's a little easier and a little faster because I'm actually not putting a line in as I go. I know approximately where I want those lines to be, going shorter to shorter, blade to blade, but I'm actually not putting a line in. It just, for me, it's a lot easier to do a haircut this way and a lot faster. And when you first start out, you'll notice that it is easier to cut this way without putting a line in with those blades, because you don't have a lever to change the lengths of the blades. This 1A blade that I just put on, it would be kind of hard to transition if I were to start with the 1A and cut up into the 1.5, because I can't change the length of that blade. It's a fixed measurement. So just for me, it is a little easier to cut backwards, not put a line in, and I can blend a little better. And when I see that there is maybe a weight line or a dark spot, I know my exact measurement at that point, so I can push in a little harder to pull it out, or maybe use the side of the blade to flick it out like you would a traditional clipper with a lever on the side with plastic guards. These are kind of tricky when you first start using them, because there really isn't any grace with it. If it's 6 millimeters long, you can't change it with a lever. So like I said earlier, we're going to cut backwards. I've started with a 2, went down to a 1.5, 1A, and this one's a number 1. And what I'm doing is I'm trying to keep my guidelines about a 1/4 of an inch from each other, an 1/8 of an inch to a 1/4 of an inch apart, until I run out of hair to cut. I do, as I go around his ear, I slightly dip down with each blade, just so it doesn't look straight across like maybe like a military high and tight. It's still going to be really short, but he'll have a little bit more gradients in the back, with a little bit of a drop in the back. So now I'm going into the OA blade, and what I'll do later is actually post a video of each length of each blade, from a traditional, like a levered clipper with guards, and what that equals out to with these without a lever on it, with just a detachable, a single length blade. But this OA blade that I'm using right now, that would be roughly the length of a regular clipper with the guards completely off and lever all the way open. So no guard lever open is the length that I'm cutting right now. And the blade that I'm going to go to now is a 000 or a 000 blade. This one is going to be basically it's roughly a no guard closed lever on a regular clipper. So like your wall seniors or your magic clips or something like that, this would be pretty much putting your bald line in, is what I'm doing right now. I've just faded down to that bald line. And when I get to the top of where I want that bald line to be, I'll slightly flick out as I'm going into the OA length. And I've done that every step of the way. If you get to the previous blade's length and flick out, again, you won't ever put a line in. So the one I'm going into now, this is a 50 or a 5/0 blade. You can go from a 000 to a 40 or a 000 to a 50. The difference is minimal. I just happen to use a 5/0 blade. The 5/0 is closer to your trimmer length. So I'll clean up around his ears with that. Kind of set in the shortest point that I can cut without using a foil shaver. And then at the next step, I'll actually switch over to a trimmer and then go from the trimmer to a foil shaver. So at the beginning, when you start using these, if you decide to use these clippers, it is kind of tricky just because you have to kind of guess where you want the placement to be from blade to blade. There's no issue with fading the traditional way, putting the bald line in and cutting up to the 2 guard or up to the 3 or wherever you want to end the fade with. Just like I said earlier, it's easier for me cutting backwards. And like I said, the trimmers that I'm using right now, they're the same length as the 50 blade. I just I switch over to those just for comfort. I like to cut around their ears and trim up the neckline and stuff with these. It's just easier for me because it's a smaller tool. I can just see a little better with what I'm doing with the trimmers as opposed to using the 50 blade. But if you don't want to change over, there's no problem with that. You can finish the whole haircut with the detachable blade clippers. And then at this point, I'm going to go from the trimmer level or the 50 level down to the foil shaver. And the first motion that I'm going to do is go with the grain. So I'm going to make a very quick flicking motion on the back of his head. And then I'm going to go down extremely slowly. I'm going to try to bald it out as much as possible, going with the grain. When you start cutting against the grain with the foil shaver, it's very easy to put in a harsh line. It's very difficult to take that line out. So before I completely bald it out like I am right now, I'll go ahead and I'll put that initial bald line in, going with the grain, with the growth of his hair, and then I'll go against the grain or against the growth of his hair and take it all the way down to skin. It's a pretty quick haircut on the sides. Once you get the hang of it, it'll probably take you 15 minutes, 15, 20 minutes. It's very easy to do once you get the hang of it. And then the way that he wears his hair on top is just a little longer in the front, a little shorter in the back. So as I'm going, I'll get slightly closer to his head. I'm probably going an eighth of an inch shorter each section that I'm taking, starting longer in the front and ending shorter in the back. That way when I style his hair later, I can kind of give him a side pompadour. And I'll leave it slightly longer on his right side just because he does like to comb it over to the left. You don't really have to do that. That's just how he likes to style his hair. What I will do is pull it as far off at a 90-degree angle and try to get as close to that clipper cut length as I can with my scissor cut. That way, if he decides to wear it forward, he won't have a weight line on the right side or an undercut on the right side, but it'll still be long enough to pull over. So another thing that you'll want to do after you cut from front to back is pull the hair up the exact opposite way like I'm doing right now to cross-check it. You'll see that there's kind of some waviness from taking those thicker sections. If you cross-check it, you'll see those little points, the little triangular points in the hair. If he didn't style his hair, you would see those waves in his hair. So this just kind of minimizes any kind of extra bulk or any extra length on the top. Just keeps it really even and really clean across the top. Now you can see where he pulls over slightly to the left and kind of pompadours it in the front. He has the length to be able to do that, but it's not so long that he has a weight line. And again, these haircuts that I'm going to show on this page, they're pretty simple to do. They're not a very advanced haircut by any means. They're just really quick, clean haircuts that you can provide with detachable blade clippers. They should take you 20 to probably no more than 30 minutes per haircut. And again, I'll provide a video later showing the actual lengths of each blade. And that's it. Thank you for watching.